Hello, everyone. Justin Crumley here, back again with another edition of CuJo's Corner. Welcome to my little corner of the world. That should be a slogan for this show. I should start off by saying, "Welcome to my little corner of the world," or I don't know, some iteration of that. um. Anyway, how you guys doing today? First and foremost, I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Had a great weekend. I hope you all got to spend some time with your family, got to avoid some of the awkward talk, watch a lot of football, eat a lot of food, and just in general have a lot of fun. Um, I know I did, and oh boy, we're gonna get to talk about some of that on the podcast today. Um, so real quick, I want to do something a little different than I normally do on these podcasts. This one may or may not be as long as I normally make them. I don't have as much to talk about this week, but we are going to spend a decent chunk of this podcast addressing an old video of mine. I feel it's necessary. I feel like it needs to be addressed, and I actually just got done listening to a little bit of it. So, actually watching a little bit of it, but when it comes to my videos, I mostly just listen to the audio. But anyway, um, so anywho, yeah, I just kind of wanted to let you guys know this show may or may not be as long as I normally make them. Things are going to be a little different today, and there may be more questions than answers, at least in terms of baseball. Yeah, definitely in terms of baseball. And I also I don't have I don't have anything to say about the Red Wings. They only played a couple games. I'm going off muscle memory here, I know they won their last game. I think they've won like two in a row now, something like that. Yeah, I think they've won like two in a row, but they've only had a couple games, so not much to say. So if you were hoping for some Red Wings talk, sorry, it's not going to be here. And yeah, like I said, as far as baseball goes, there's definitely going to be more questions than answers. But I think I've wasted enough time. Actually, that's not true. I love talking to you guys. But with that said, I do want to get started. So, Michigan did the impossible. They thumped Ohio State this past Saturday, 42-27. Um, they finally snapped the losing streak against Ohio State. They won the Big Ten East. Excuse me. They won the Big Ten East. And, look, guys, they dominated that game on both sides of the ball. There was not one play in that game where Ohio State was the better team. Maybe except for the pick, but we'll get to that in just a minute. I thought this game overall, Michigan went out there and just absolutely took care of business, dominated Ohio State, put them in their place. Really played with a purpose, played with a chip on their shoulders. I was listening to the radio at work earlier, and they were talking about this. They said they kind of had a Spartan mentality. And I know a lot of Michigan fans may not want to hear that, but I actually thought it was a pretty solid comparison. And look, I've made this comparison before. I've heard it. I agree with it. This year's Michigan Wolverines team, the 2021 Michigan Wolverines, are almost beat for beat the same as the 2015 Michigan State Spartans. I'd be willing to bet. Um, when you look at the resiliency and the toughness, the fact that both teams like to run, and the fact that both teams won games that they easily shouldn't have, they both had that one bad loss. I mean, guys, you've heard me say all this before. Look, I think at the end of the day, the comparison is totally spot on. And to make matters even better, and I'll get more into this in just a minute. I want to talk more about the Michigan-Ohio State game. Michigan is going to be playing Iowa in the Big Ten Championship this year. Guess who Michigan State played in the 2015 Big Ten Championship? Iowa. So, the comparisons are absolutely insane. But, back to the Michigan-Ohio State game. So, as I said, Michigan did exactly what they needed to. They ran the ball a lot. They made Ohio State's offense make a lot of mistakes. How many false start flags did Ohio State have? A couple holding calls here and there. They had Ohio State playing very sloppily, and they made Ohio State make mistakes. That's a tongue twister. They got to C.J. Stroud, Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, with his parents watching him for the first time. They really got to C.J. Stroud. They really did. I almost said C.J. Spiller for some reason, but C.J. Stroud. They really got to him, and much like Ohio State kind of ended Kenneth Walker's chance at the Heisman, I would say Michigan kind of ended C.J. Stroud's chances at the Heisman. This is an incredibly dominating performance from Michigan. They overall just dominated the game, left and right, up and down, both sides of the ball. I think Aiden Hutchinson actually set a record, something like that. He had I think 3.5 sacks or 3 sacks, something like that. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. Hassan Haskins had a hell of a game, proving that he is probably the best running back that this team has, at least right now. Speaking of school records, he tied a school record for most rushing touchdowns in a game with 5. He also had 169 yards, so he essentially did to Ohio State what Kenneth Walker did to Michigan. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I mentioned a play earlier about an interception. Cade did throw a really ugly pick early in the game. And I feel the need to mention it because I just kind of want to point out, this was that moment because Michigan was up 7-0. They were driving the ball. Looked like they were going to go up 14-0, take a decent lead over Ohio State. But then they threw that pick, and the only thing I could think was, oh God, don't let that play be one of those plays that just ends the game. Because under Harbaugh, Michigan kind of is one of those teams that when the momentum is stopped, they tend to fall apart. You guys remember a few years back when they played Ohio State and they went for 2, they got stopped. I remember looking at my buddy and he's like, bro, we're probably going to get our asses kicked off that one play, dude. I was like, oh, we'll be fine. We're only down by 2. And then they came out and the final score was 62-39. Ohio State absolutely flattened Michigan. So, yeah, that's the only thing I could think was oh my God, don't let that be that play. That play where Ohio State has that spark and then all of a sudden they start walking all over you. But no, the defense, they stepped up. They were essentially bend, not break. I think Stroud had a pretty decent amount of passing yards. So I know I said, Michigan essentially ended his Heisman career, but in essence, they did, but Stroud still had a decent amount of passing yards. I'm actually going to look that up because I don't want to sound stupid. More stupid than I already sound, anyway. Okay. Doing this live, as I'm on. Well, I'm not live, but, you guys know what I mean. So I'm looking up the looking up the passing yards here. Here we go. So yeah, Stroud actually had a pretty decent game. He had a pretty good game here. 34 for 49, 394 yards and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, to say that Michigan ended his Heisman bid, maybe it's a little bit of an overstatement, but let's be honest, guys. It kind of did. It kind of did. So, as for the implications of this win, and I mentioned this earlier, Michigan has won the Big Ten East. It's the first time they won it under Harbaugh, so that's it. We're gonna check that box, and trust me, we'll get to that. Um, so Michigan won the Big Ten East, and they're gonna play Iowa in the Big Ten championship. And to be honest, guys, this is kind of weird because at first I thought I wasn't sure who we were playing. I kept hearing Wisconsin, and then I saw like Wisconsin. Like I saw like kind of like a promo. I don't want to say promo because it's like wrestling lingo, but I don't know what else to call it. Like it was like a promo, and it was like Big Ten championship, whatever, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and I was like, no way is Minnesota in contention for the Big Ten championship. Because I remember Iowa was the top 5 team at a point, but then I looked it up, figured out, Wisconsin wins, and it was one of those things. My stupid ass didn't quite put it together. Wisconsin wins and they're in. But what ended up happening was Wisconsin lost to Minnesota, so Iowa got in because of that. So yeah, Michigan opened up as a 10.5 point favorite over Iowa in the Big Ten championship. I don't really know if that means anything. If anybody out there bets, are you taking that bet? Personally, I would. I think Michigan's gonna flatten Iowa. I think this team has very much surprised me. Michigan, they're good. They're great. The way they played against Ohio State, they need to channel that kind of energy every year. They need to come in with the mentality that nobody thinks they can do anything, that nobody thinks they're going to win. It's going to be, that they're underdogs, at least until they can definitively say that they are at the top. They should come in with a chip on their shoulder and feel like they got something to prove. Because with that mentality, I feel like they play better. They play better ball, and it shows. It showed against Ohio State. Guys, again, they didn't just win that game. They dominated. I never could have imagined how amazing they played against Ohio State. Again, I'll say it again. Besides that one pick, there was not one play where Ohio State was the better team. Not one play. Michigan was the better team in all 4 quarters, every second of that game. And if Michigan comes in to the Big Ten championship with that kind of energy, I think they'll flatten Iowa. Now, look, I don't want to come off like I'm underestimating Iowa. They were a top 5 team, at least until Purdue beat them. And I haven't been following Iowa too much, but from what I gather, Iowa is more or less one of those teams where they kind of rely on you to make mistakes. Like they had a really good defense. Their secondary was, I think, like top of the country. They had a really solid defense. That's what they seem to have been known for. But it seemed like they would rely on their defense to create turnovers for their offense to have less field to play with, which is actually a pretty creative way to win games. I won't lie, but if that's how they've been winning their games, I mean Michigan doesn't pass the ball that often, so they're gonna have to figure out how to stop Hassan Haskins, and I really don't see that happening. Look, no offense to the Iowa fans out there, this Michigan team looks destructive. Like they look nasty. Look, guys, I'm not going to be a hypocrite about this. I was wrong about this Michigan team. And look, I'll get more into it in just a minute. We'll get to that point. I'm sure a lot of you are waiting for that. But I just want to say one more thing. Look, I don't want to overlook Iowa. They were a top 5 team, but I think if what I hear about them is true, and they are for the most part a team that relies on you to make mistakes in the passing game, I don't think Michigan has a lot to worry about. They're such a run-heavy offense, and they've done it really well. I think they'll be all right. And for all of you who are betting out there, I don't know what the line is now. I know it opened up at 10.5, but I haven't looked at it recently. So yeah, if it's still at 10.5, I would honestly take it. I think Michigan's gonna win this game by I don't know, probably a couple touchdowns. So I know you guys have been waiting for it, and I have certainly hinted at addressing the video. So this was the part that I was talking about when I said, I'm going to adjust my mic here. So this was the part that I was talking about when I said that that like this one's going to be a little different than previous podcasts from before. I'm actually going to address an old video that I made. And it's one that actually got pretty big, at least for my channel. 5.5 thousand views. That's not bad. At least, again, for my channel. I know that's not big, but, you know. I average maybe double-digit views, so it's always cool to see when, like, a video of mine like that gets big. So, anyway, I gave Harbaugh a lot of crap, and it's so ironic, because one of the first things I said in that video was, I didn't want to make a video about Michigan because I wanted to give it some time. Well, clearly I didn't give it enough time. Now, I was, for the most part, pretty happy to see the response on that video. I did appreciate the conversations I got out of a lot of people. Guys, honestly, like, I did. I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart here. I did enjoy those conversations. Something just popped up on my screen. There we go. I did enjoy having those conversations, guys, and I always will. But I do want to address sort of the overall point I was trying to make in that video. Now, I had talked about, one thing I had said was, like, Harbaugh clearly doesn't know how to game plan. For the most part, I think there is some truth in that statement, even still, but it's obvious to me, at least to this point, that I had not given it enough time. I probably should have just let the season play out, let Harbaugh finish the season before making a final judgment. I guess what I'm trying to say is I was wrong, and I'm gonna kind of eat my crows here, but yeah. Look. What did I say in that video? That Harbaugh hasn't beaten Ohio State? Well, he has now. And he has victories against Michigan State. Yeah, he didn't beat them this year, but he beat Ohio State this year, and he's got Michigan in position to finally put a trophy in the trophy case, a Big Ten championship, and a college football playoff berth. These were things I had on the checklist that weren't checked, that can all be checked this Saturday if they beat Iowa. Again, I don't want to overlook Iowa, even though I kind of already did, but Harbaugh has to go out and win. I don't know if you guys hear, but my dogs are barking in the background. Harbaugh has to win the game. Michigan has to win this Saturday. And if they do, let's be honest, Big Ten champions, they'd be 12-1. There's no way they don't go to the playoffs. Hell, if they beat Iowa and Georgia beats Alabama, Michigan may get in as a 2 seed. You never know, or maybe a 3 seed, but they'll get in. They'll get in. I might be talking out of my ass on the 2 or 3 seed, but Michigan will get in. They'll get into the college football playoffs, and guys, I maybe I just sound crazy saying this, but I I think they actually have a shot at this. I haven't seen much of Georgia. I know Georgia's kind of like the best of the best right now, at least this year. But yeah, if Michigan's proven me wrong to this point, I think they have a legitimate shot. Now I'm not gonna go and pick them to do the what I would consider the impossible. But hey, you know what? I'm gonna enjoy the ride. I was wrong about Harbaugh. Um, I'm glad he was finally able to pull out a win. Finally got Michigan over that hill. And I feel like they can build off of it because they didn't just win. There's no asterisks here. There's no bullshit ref, whatever, no shenanigans, no bad calls, nothing like that. It was a good, dominating performance. We ran all over them. We got to the quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, I think Michigan can build off of this. And I think Harbaugh's got a real chance to make something special happen from this. But I'm not gonna carry his water and say, he's gonna do it. I'll simply say I was wrong, and I think we should keep him. Because it's obvious to me that against all odds, he can get Michigan ready to go, and he can get them to play up to their competition. Because, I mean, look, guys, I literally made a whole video about it. I didn't think they were going to beat Penn State or Ohio State. Now, I did say in that video that he had a chance to prove me wrong, and he did. And I commend him for that. I'm glad he did. I'll be honest, I've never been happier to be wrong about something. I'm ecstatic to see Michigan football. I almost made a video about that game alone right after it happened. I was jazzed when they just absolutely destroyed Ohio State. But I wanted to save everything that I had to say for the podcast because, as you guys can tell, I had a lot to say. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. We got a big game this Saturday against Iowa. It's the Big Ten championship. It's most of everything we were finally hoping for. Harbaugh finally got us to this point. Let's hope he can finally bring home a Big Ten championship. And, I mean, shit, honestly, guys, even if they end up going one and done in the playoffs, I'd be more than happy with that. I didn't think they would go 11-1. Much less win the Big Ten East. I really thought they were going to shit the bed. It was going to be another crap season, and it was just going to further prove that Harbaugh is damaged goods. That's honestly what I thought, and that's why I was confident making that video. And look, again, I don't think it's unfair. I don't think all of what I said was unfair. I think for me, the biggest regret I have is just the timing. I really wish I had stuck to my principles and just let the season play out. I really wish I had kept my patience and just kind of let it see where things go. I guess with hindsight, it's easy to say that, but still, it's just amazing. It's amazing to see Michigan football in a position where I think they have an honest shot at actually making a possible run for a national championship. It's insane, but I feel a little bit confident saying that, hey, there's a chance it could happen. if we know anything, they're tough, they're resilient, they're strong, and again, even if they end up going one and done, hey, they punched their ticket to the college football playoffs, and they're just simply like playing in the game. Shit, they're already breaking what I thought they would do. I'm just gonna enjoy the ride. So I'll sum it up like this. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. I was wrong about Jim Harbaugh. I think I'm willing to recant that he should be fired. I don't think he should be. I'm glad to be wrong. I'm glad Michigan is in the spot that they're in, and I hope they go nowhere but up. So, before I move on to the Patriots, I have a few questions for you guys about Michigan. So, first of all, what do you predict the score for the Big Ten championship? If you're whether you're an Iowa fan or a Michigan fan, throw it in the comment section below. What do you think the score will be? Also, what kind of fan were you? Were you like me? Were you a little bit nihilistic about Harbaugh? Were you about ready to cash in the chips and say, you know what, he's got to go, this isn't working, after they lost to Michigan State? Or were you not like me? Were you still holding out a little bit of hope? Whatever you were, whichever fan you were, I guess would be the better way to put it. Throw it in the comment section below. Yeah, let's get a conversation going about this. And yeah, I'll say this: feels good to be wrong. Anyway, so let's move on to the New England Patriots. So the Pats smacked the, at the time, number one seed in the AFC, Tennessee Titans. Now, they were a little bit banged up. I think A.J. Brown was out. I don't think Julio Jones played. Didn't see much of Adrian Peterson. I don't know, maybe he played. And I also, Derrick Henry's out for the year, so it's definitely a bit of a handicapped Tennessee Titans team. But nonetheless, still number one in the AFC. And the New England Patriots stomped a mud hole in their ass. 36-13 was the final score. Mac Jones had an absolute field day. He went 23 for 32 for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. The defense, this is strange. So the defense was a little bit hot and cold. They gave up 270 rushing yards, but they forced 4 turnovers, 3 fumbles, and an interception. All 3 of the fumbles being recoveries, and an interception from J.C. Jackson, who I haven't looked at the numbers on J.C. Jackson, but I believe I think he has like 7 picks on the year. That dude is due for a contract extension. I think the Patriots need to get to work on that. Unfortunately, I don't know how much. I don't think we're going to have a lot of cap space next year, so unfortunately, it could be, might not be good if we're looking to bring J.C. Jackson back. But, yeah, he's having a great year. You love to see it. Yeah, really not much to say about this one. As I said, the defense was a bit hot and cold. They did give up 270 rushing yards. Kind of amazing that Tennessee put up that much rushing yards, but only managed to put up 13 points. I guess the way to put it is New England's defense was very bend, not break in this game. As I pointed out, Mac Jones, 310, a career high 310 yards. And he had 2 touchdowns. Mac Jones continues to look like a Rookie of the Year candidate, and I was actually talking to my buddy about this, and he full on thinks that Mac Jones is going to win AFC Rookie of the Year. And to be honest, guys, I don't think I'm going to say Jamar Chase anymore. I think Jamar Chase still has a case, sure, but I think I'd put my money on Mac Jones as of right now. And look, I don't just say that because I'm a Pats fan. I say it because I mean it. This kid's good. And look, this is something I was talking to my dad about. Mac Jones doesn't put up like the most dazzling numbers. I mean, I've gone over it. His numbers, like, I mean, he had 310 yards in this game, which is pretty good. Um, but he normally doesn't get that many yards. He does a lot of short passes. He's more of a field general. He wins games. And at the end of the day, that's the only stat that matters. You can have statistics like Aaron Rodgers or Pat Mahomes or hell even Tom Brady. But at the end of the day, the only stat that matters is a W. And Mac Jones is proving that he knows how to get those. So yeah, Mac Jones is just continuing to impress, and I just kind of wanted to throw some love at him because, much like Jim Harbaugh, he is proving me wrong as well by making me look stupid. If you guys recall, I was more in the Justin Fields camp, but Mac Jones continues to impress, and I could not be happier. As a Pats fan, this does my heart proud, and I get to laugh at all of you because I know you all hate the Pats. None of you are Pats fans. Well, if you watch my channel, you're probably a Pats fan, so in which case, you're awesome. Keep rooting for the Pats. But if you hate the Pats and you hate seeing them win, I get to laugh at you because, the Pats are winning, so, yeah. Anyway, alright, so we're going to move on to the last thing that I want to talk about, and it's baseball. So, nothing major, unfortunately, not the news I was hoping to report, but uh, Marcus Simeon and Corey Seeger both signed with the Texas Rangers. Now, these are two guys that were part of, the Big Five as far as like shortstops go on the market. Marcus Simeon's contract is 7 years, 175 mil. Corey Seager's is for 10 years at 325 mil. So now I've heard the Tigers are talking. Apparently, I guess the rumor is like there was a lot of rumors surrounding them and Carlos Correa. The only other team that's really been linked to Carlos Correa is the Yankees, and I don't know if I see the Yankees signing him just purely for like the bad blood, but who knows? They might. They might. They are one of those teams that's known for spending big money, so who knows? I've also heard the Tigers are apparently interested in Javier Baez, and to be honest, I'd rather have Carlos Correa. I would rather they just bite the bullet and sign Carlos Correa. But Trevor Story is another guy I think I would rather have than Javier Baez. I think regardless, Tigers need a shortstop. Um, Here's the issue. They have said that they're not looking to spend $300 million on a player. Now, personally, I think that's a mistake. Um, Realistically speaking, that's probably what it's going to cost to get Carlos Correa. It's probably going to cost a fuck ton more than 300. And you think about it, a guy like Corey Seager um, got a 10-year contract out of Texas for 325 million. I'm pretty sure Correa is going to look for more than that. Maybe more years, longer. I don't know. It's a gamble, but I think the Tigers should do it. But I guess that's the question I want to ask to you guys. I haven't really been paying much attention to baseball too much. I'm just purely going off of stats. I guess the biggest reason I said I wouldn't want Javier Baez is because the guy strikes out a lot. I have his strikeout numbers here now. His his overall numbers are actually not that bad. He had a 265 average, 31 homers, um, 133 hits. I don't think I have the amount of ribbies that he had. So if somebody could get his ribbies in the comment section, his RBIs, that'd be great. Because the stats I got apparently didn't list that. That's kind of weird. Usually stats you get list that, but he struck out 184 times. Now the other two guys I mentioned, Trevor Story and Carlos Correa. You guys know Correa's numbers. I've gone over them in the past, but Correa Correa has only struck out 116 times last year. Trevor Story, the other guy I mentioned, struck out 139. Compare that to Javier Baez, who struck out 184 times. I don't know. I think you're just better off with Trevor Story or Carlos Correa. You have a better presence at the plate with one of those two guys. So, Trevor Story, look at his numbers here. Are these the right numbers? Yep, here we go. Okay, so, alright, Trevor Story had 132 hits. How many home runs did he hit? Okay, 132 hits on 526 at bats. I am so unprepared for this. He had 24 home runs, 75 RBIs, 53 base on balls, and as I said, he only struck out 139 times. So yeah, he's also packing some pretty good numbers at the plate. Carlos Correa's numbers are way better than that, and he struck out way less. So yeah, I just think you're better off spending more money on either Correa or Story. But that's just coming from me. That's coming from the perspective of a guy who unfortunately hasn't been able to pay too much attention to Tigers baseball over the past few years. So I guess what I want to do is is throw it to you guys as a question. So of the three guys left on the market, Carlos Correa, Trevor Story, Javier Baez, who do you hope that the Tigers sign and why? Whoever you hope they sign, throw it in the comment section below. Probably not going to get much resistance or much of an argument from me because, again, I haven't paid too much attention. I'm purely going off of stats and numbers. But based on the numbers I've seen, and a few like other hand accounts that I trust. I would just rather have Story or Correa than Javier Baez. But that's just me. Whoever you guys want, throw it in the comment section below. Also, be sure to comment your thoughts on everything else we talked about in this video. So yeah, that's going to about wrap this one up. Once again, I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you guys ate a lot of food, watched a lot of football, just overall had a great time. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. I really do appreciate it. And again, be sure to comment, respond to what we talked to today. what we talked about today. Not what we talked about. Jesus. What we talked about today. And, yeah, until next time, guys, stay awesome. And this is Justin Crumley with CuJo Productions, signing out.